Okay, what are we talking about this week?
Cold brew truth.
What is the cold brew truth this week? It's sunshiny out.
Thank the Lord.
It was like 55 degrees.
It was fine. Well,
So crazy.
51 and partly sunny.
We're finishing out January. Yeah. Do we need to be formal?
I don't know. That's what we normally do. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Oh.
Do we have one?
Hi guys!
Well-
ℂ𝕠𝕝𝕕.
Not like that, I mean.
Oh.
But like, I just not like, did you ever save an intro?
No, we usually have one. We usually do it at the beginning every time. Why do we have to do the same thing every time though?
We don't have to. We just need to see what they're listening to.
I know they say consistency is key.
It intros kind of an important thing, so they're listening to.
Throw them for a loop.
Hey guys, welcome to the Cold Brew Truth.
ℂ𝕠𝕝𝕕.
Stephanie Murphy.
Woo!
Alright, we always do that. The woohoo. We're not
Are
even
we
woo
woo
girls.
girls?
No, we're not even woohoo girls. We just said that earlier.
Woo girls.
Woo.
I'm definitely not woo girls.
Should we do it again?
Alright, this week's.
Huh? I said, should we do it again without the woohoo? No. Oh, okay. This week's topic.
Is we were talking earlier about
Oh man.
standing up for yourself.
It's really hard to do, actually, sometimes, especially in a world where you've been taught to be polite and to mind your manners and your P's and your Q's. And sometimes, like, that means, like, you have to stay silent through uncomfortable situations, maybe, or different things that have happened to you in your life. And you just don't have the courage to speak up and be like, but that was really fucked up. Like,
Well, part of our conversation was about how we grew up that way or how we were raised to respect our elders, or like you were taught to not say anything, you know? Like if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all.
yeah.
I think that's part of where some of us started to not say anything or stay quiet.
And not like in a bad way of like trying to silence you. I think it was just more so like learning to be respectful. And I know like in particular, there was always like this particular like picture that was supposed to always be painted as in like, we just had like this picture perfect family that was so not picture perfect, but you know what I mean? Like it's like that facade that people try to put on of like being proper or being portrayed.
You mean like how they want to look?
Yeah, like the keeping up with the Joneses factor type thing. Like, oh, God forbid you be a kid that like is mouthy and talk back or whatever. And especially like being raised with 3 sisters and my parents, like, I don't know, like it was just oftentimes like you just had to be respectful of everybody else and show empathy and show kindness and all those things. And that's all true. Like, I don't disagree with any of that, but there also comes a point in your life where it comes to boundaries and respecting people and their personal space or even their personal beliefs, where it's like sometimes you do have to stand up for yourself and it's really uncomfortable, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, we were also talking about the anxiety
Oh,
or like the amount of anxiety or stress when you know that you're going to stand up for yourself, and the fact that standing up for yourself is causing a rift, or it's going to cause an argument, or you know it's going to cause a conflict in some way, shape, or form. So you then start dreading, like, oh man, like maybe I shouldn't do this. But then like you have to remind yourself, like, wait, why am I doing this? Like, what's the purpose? And I think we don't go down those thought processes to remind ourselves, no, we are doing it for ourselves, whether it be for your mental stability, your physical stability, whatever it may be. We oftentimes forget why we're standing up for ourselves.
But our bodies are having an actual physical like reaction or response to the very thing that like
The thought of standing up for ourselves.
yeah, which is wild to think about. And that goes back to, like you said, the anxiety. Like, holy shit, the amount of psoriasis I have in my head over the years of standing up for myself and just the anxiety and stress that comes from that, like, is how I also know, like, medically, like, your body responds.
That was the rabbit hole that led us down this. That's right. Standing up for yourself. And then we got on the topic of stress and anxiety, and then the toll it takes on your
The
body.
medical ailments that you can literally, like, induce to yourself.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. You can literally
Make yourself
make
sick.
yourself sick, physically ill, out of stress and anxiety, which I think is a lot of our problems. And
I want
then
to get vulnerable with you for a second.
we
More
wrap
so
up
like,
again. That's
what's a time that you remember yourself where you physically, like your body was like so uncomfortable, or just in your brain was so uncomfortable with something that you knew that you needed to speak up about? Like, can you think of a time?
yeah, oh my gosh, I have so many. I know, like, one, I guess, if you wanted to, like, be super, like, in the feels, last year, when I had to, like, have that conversation with my mother about why I no longer was going to participate in her home. And it was, what was it? It was during the holidays, and she wanted me to participate in something, and it was to the point where I was like, I could not no longer participate, and I knew standing up for myself and why I could not participate in their chaos was gonna cause, you know, like relationship problems there. But I knew I had to stand up for myself, but I do remember it being very, very hard, because you don't want to stand up against people that you feel are your family or friends, or, you know, people that you wouldn't think are hurtful, I guess.
What was, I guess, like the main thing that tipped you to being like, but I need to do this, like, for you?
Because the anxiety and stress of still doing it outweighed the anxiety of stress that I was getting to say, like, I'm not doing it anymore. I think your body gets to the point where it knows enough is enough. And I got to the point too where I started listening to my body, which I think is really, really important. We do not listen to our bodies enough. We aren't taught how to listen to our bodies any longer.
But oftentimes that goes back to where are you at with your mindset and with your body.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this because, again, like, I don't have anything against anybody who does drink, or even anybody who smokes pot or any of the above. Like, I've literally been a consumer myself, like, but I remember, like, that was almost a way of, like, numbing myself of feeling, and I hate to say it that way because it kind of was as a crutch, but, like, I think that until you can almost, like, become sober, it's really hard to actually learn your body and listen to it, because it's, you know, if you're in an altered state of mind or body, it's hard to know then what your body's really telling you until you can get to that point. And then once you get to that point, then you're like, why is my body doing this? This is, like, not normal. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. And then it, like, all starts to click, I feel like.
Yeah. The drinking, how did we rope that? We were talking about that too, how the drinking ropes into that, like, that choice of no longer drinking or participating, and how it's like, it's really just standing up for yourself, honestly, and people don't understand the pull.
We were talking about, like, it goes back to, like, standing up for yourself, but also then showing up for yourself, because drunk version of Stephanie, drunk version of Zella, you could become the biggest dreamers and biggest planners and come up with the greatest ideas and plans, and then the sober one that you'd wake up to, you're like, why did I ever agree to do this or commit to that or do something? Or the fulfillment of things, like, oftentimes are left unmet because you make very unrealistic goals or aspirations and all those things, which is why I think sometimes even people then lean towards, you know, drugs and alcohol, is because it's an easy thing to consume. Like, it's literally anywhere and everywhere. And it will elevate your emotions and feelings, whether, you know, for temporarily or, like, for the night, whatever it is. Your inhibitions come down, your mind starts wandering, it thinks about other things, because then you're, like, not thinking about the stresses of everything, and that's what most people do. I just want to relax, I just want to do this. I don't even know how many times I've heard people, like, even say, like, they need to have a drink or do something to, like, feel comfortable in the bedroom. Like, I remember having those conversations. I'm like, wait, what? Like, but it makes sense, because people don't feel comfortable or even confident sometimes in their own skin or in their own body, and they're taking something or doing something to make themselves feel, or so they think, but really you're just taking those inhibitions and all those other things, and you're slowing everything down to where your brain's not processing the things that it's constantly thinking and churning over all day long.
Well, oftentimes those things that are bothering us are things like, if you were to have just stood up for yourself, say what you wanted to say in the first place,
Yeah.
then maybe that anxiety and stress is causing you down that rabbit hole would no longer be there as like a stressor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe. I know, but I never even was like that heavy of a drinker. Like I would drink because it was around me and I would participate. I was never that big of a drunk person. However, drunk Zella, she was so much more fun. Because I think she would
until
set
you
me
reach
up.
that point where you're like,
She was setting me up for failure. She was setting me up for big failure. I would be agreeing to go do things with people socially, and out of guilt of maybe I should just go, and then I would wake up sober the next day and be like, why did she agree to this? Why? I don't want to do this. This is not what I want to be doing.
or waking up and being like, wait, what did I do last night?
I never got there. I wasn't that bad, unfortunately. Or not even that bad. My brain just didn't do that. Trust me, I wish the tequila.
I was saying, are you sure?
I remember all of the vomit on that one. Oh, my Lenta. That was bad.
I didn't have very many moments in my life either where I drank to the point of blacking out where I didn't remember. But what's weird is I do remember drinking actually with my family. It was just for my mom's birthday when she had turned 60, and I remember drinking whiskey, but we were in Arizona, and there's the sun component and all the stuff, and
the whiskey component.
It was all the above.
I don't know. Maybe it was the whiskey.
Well, it was the whiskey, but then when you're in the
can't drink
sun,
whiskey.
it definitely drains you and zaps you. But I do remember fully functioning, operating all the things, and my dad was like, "Yeah, you were great." And then we were having a conversation the next day, and I was like, "What? I did what?" There were certain little bits and pieces that I didn't remember, but what I did remember, this is where it's actually really weird. So it goes back to then again, your body will do different things. So he had said something that literally triggered my brain and put it into a mode, where again, I think it was a combination of the alcohol, but then also past traumas that I had not dealt with.
What'd you do?
It just made me forget, and I didn't. That was really embarrassing. But so we had
Did you pee your pants?
Fuck no. I handled life like a champ. No, this is what was so shocking to my dad, is we had rented a pontoon boat and we were on some reservoir in Arizona, and my dad said to me we gotta pick up the pace, darling. We gotta get going. And I remember when I was married, my ex-husband would it was not fun with him. But that in my brain triggered me oh my gosh, we have to go right now. And that anxiety that literally kicked in is what actually made me black out to the point where I didn't remember. It wasn't even the alcohol. And my dad was absolutely shocked that I did not remember doing this the next day. So much as so I got out because we were all in the water swimming. And when he said that, he wasn't saying it directly to me, but he was saying it to all of us. And he was just come on, darling, let's go.
Your brain triggered.
And I did. And he was gonna be driving us back to the boat launch because we weren't that far away. And he said, I got up out of the water and I was and I scooted him out of the seat to become the captain of the boat all of a sudden. And I literally pulled us up to this reservoir, boat launch. I've never been here a day in my life. This is a rental boat, never even been on this boat, but I've been driving it most of the day. And I'm really confident on the water and driving boats and all the above, but I literally dropped him and my one sister off. They went up, grabbed the boat and the trailer, brought it back. And I'd been putting around with my other sister and my mom and stuff. And once I saw them, they waved to me, said that they were there. And I drove the boat, first try, on the trailer, got it all hooked up, got everything strapped down, everything was good. We go to pull out and I'm wait, stop. And I literally took the awning, put it all down, wrapped it all up, did everything. And then the next morning when we were sitting there talking about it, my dad was yeah, you did great with the boat. And I was yeah, who did that? You must have done that clearly, because I don't remember doing it. And he was what are you talking about, Stephanie? And I was well, yeah, you must have taken the boat back. And he was Stephanie, you drove the boat on the trailer. And I was I'm sorry, I did what? I did not remember.
At least you did a good job.
Well, that's the thing. I went into a fight or flight mode, and my dad was shocked because he was Stephanie, I didn't think you had that much to drink. And that's the honest to God truth is I didn't really, because I'm not a big drinker, but
Right.
that mixed with sunshine, mixed with then my body reacting and responding to anxiety, it just like, it went into a blackout moment where
Right.
I was just solely operating at that
Yeah.
point. And clearly, like, he even said, he goes, I would have had no idea, like, that you would not have remembered that.
Isn't it funny what your brain does for like
Kind
the
of.
fight or flight or for
It was embarrassing
survival?
for me though, because I was like, at that point, I was like, that's really embarrassing. And that to me
Right.
was like almost like when I think
Well, they probably, like, you initially probably did blame the alcohol and the thought.
I did.
And that's where our conversations of like how important not drinking could be, because so many people have that thought in the back of their mind that it is just the alcohol that's like causing these things or could be an issue. And then if without it, you can eliminate that as a possibility and option altogether.
Which is what I did then that entire next year.
Which then brings back the
being
confidence
sober.
and standing up for yourself, because then like you weren't gonna argue any of that because you have the
No.
confidence in yourself. You're like, it could have been the alcohol, it could have been, I mean, yeah, anxiety, stress, but
Yeah.
that played a factor to the point where that took the blame and you probably, even though it wasn't the trauma.
I mean, it still is mind boggling to me
Yeah.
to this day, like honestly, because
Isn't the hurry up one such a big stressor? That one gets me too.
dear Lord,
And I was
I didn't
never
realize
like that.
Yeah, I didn't realize how bad that was, honestly. And then I remember thinking about it later because I was like, I still, like, it personally bugged me so much that I could not remember those bits and those pieces.
Right.
But I was like, I've been like way more drunk than that before, and I've drank way more, and I remember the details. Like, why could I not remember? And I think it was then becoming sober of the mind and really sitting with myself and reevaluating things and starting therapy and all of these things. And what really triggered it actually was in that following year when I had already made the commitment, like, that I was gonna try and go no drinking for an entire year. I noticed myself, because then I went into a year where it was just trauma after trauma, that my brain, like, my kids were making fun of me and they're like, dude, you don't remember anything. And I was like, what is going on? And I didn't realize that. So when you are suffering from PTSD, which I'm still being, seen for it and treated for it, is that when you have PTSD and you go into high anxiety situations or your brain gets triggered, you do black out. You do not remember. And one of the side effects is short-term memory loss, which all makes sense. And I was like, and I remember it all clicking, and I was like, it wasn't just the alcohol, like, but I appreciated at that point, like, knowing that, okay, I am of the sober mind and I can make these connections now. And then also then knowing, like, I'm still experiencing these same kind of like blackouts, if you will, but I'm sober, so this doesn't make sense. What is happening? And then so being able to just like have that additional knowledge of how your body goes into protecting you is what it really boils down to. Is your body is blacking you out from very high stress situations to not have to feel that pain. So you don't have to remember it. So you don't have to relive it. Yep.
And then that's where they end up with all of the physical issues start coming out, because the mental stuff is so bad that you cannot, your body like starts,
all the chemical releases.
she gets psoriasis, like it comes out in all different weird ways. Yeah.
But I think it goes back to being so important to learn then how to speak up for yourself, because I think that then that's how you can rewire your brain.
Apparently I need more coffee.
Rewire your system.
3 times, sorry about the yawning.
Sleeping.
Last week I was
putting you to
sniffly,
sleep.
this week I'm yawning.
That's good though that you did, like, you got to that point too with your family and realized like it was unhealthy for you.
Oh, absolutely.
And
when you are more dreading the experience than looking forward to it, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And if you know there's something wrong, then I think it's up to you as an individual to just come with the terms of like, okay, there's something wrong, I'm either going to deal with it and then decide how you're going to deal with it, or say, I am not okay with this situation, and figure out how you're going to remove yourself from it.
I think also like it goes back to that feeling of knowing like how your body's responding, how you're feeling, how you react. Like either way you're gonna feel those emotions of that uncomfortableness of speaking up, but the end result is what you are making that decision on. Either
Yeah.
you're going to allow yourself to feel that pain, feel that uncomfort, feel whatever that anxiety, dread is, while still allowing something to not be okay and still take place, or you can feel that, push through that, fight through that, and then once you come out on the other side of it,
I was just gonna say that.
that's where then you get to like rewire and retrain your brain of like, but I'm showing up for myself and I'm fighting for myself because I'm gonna feel this pain regardless, so I might as well be getting something out of this pain in the long run.
I think what is really important to like take a note on for yourself is after you stand up for yourself, after you have gone through that period of anxiety, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna stand up for myself, and then you finally do stand up for yourself, and then you get the reaction from the other person, which can go a handful of ways. I think what's really important is after they've given them, like, you their reaction, how do you feel? Because I remember at times, like, the amount of relief, that relief and weight off your shoulders was so much greater than that anxiety I had previously felt, that I was then like, okay with my decision. I think
That
it's
relief
important.
is that breaking of that chain.
Right,
if
and
you
not
will.
not everyone might feel relief. Some people might feel even more guilt, and then know like, okay, maybe I didn't make the right decision for me, you know. And I think it's really important to
Pay attention.
pay
to this.
attention to what happens afterwards. Don't dwell on, oh my god, I had so much anxiety that this person this and this person that. Take note on how you felt and how your body reacted after you made those choices. Don't pay attention to how that person reacted to you. I can tell you right there what the reaction was, or you know, that's why you had the anxiety. You already knew what their reaction was
Right.
going to be,
Or you anticipated
or
what
you
it was going to be.
anticipated. Who cares? Stand up for yourself. Pay attention to yourself. How did you feel? Like, and then move from that point forward.
I remember when I first got into real estate, I think I've shared this with you before, but I remember attending a conference, basically, where we had a coach, and the coach was awesome. And I was brand new. I came from a corporate world where we had, you know, an HR department and stuff like that, like somebody you got to go to who helped keep people compliant and all these things. And I was a brand new agent, and I was attending, like I said, this conference, and there was a coach that was like really highly like
Sought after and well known,
had good credibility,
Yeah.
and like he was really, really good at his job. And I had an opportunity to drive him to the airport, which was like 10, 15 minutes away from our office, whatever. And one of the other folks in the office was like, hey, I was supposed to, but I can't. Are you able to? Like, honestly, this could be a really good opportunity for you to just like get some one-on-one time, ask whatever questions you can. And I was like, okay. So I did. And this guy was married and had several kids, and we got to hear all about his story and all this stuff over the like 3-4 weeks that we'd already been attending. And well, he decided to come on to me, basically sexually, and I was like, it shocked me, it stunned me that I didn't do anything, like I didn't respond, I didn't really say anything, but I was just like, wait, what is happening right now? And it was so weird.
And
it was
probably confused.
I was, and I was driving, that was the other thing, so I was driving, and I remember getting to the airport and being like, just get out of the car, just get out of the car. And like, he did, but then, I don't remember why, like he had asked me to like get out of the car, and so I did, and like, I remember he like came to give me a hug, and I was like, hey, see you later. Very awkward, just tried to like, get him out of there as quickly as he could. And then I remember driving away, feeling so violated and so confused, and being like, but wait a minute, that was like, how did he mean that? Like, that wasn't appropriate. That's not okay. But what do I do with this? Like, who do I tell? What do I do? And I sat on it for like almost a week. And the anxiety that I felt was just like tearing me apart, because I was like, I don't want to get in trouble for like saying something. And I was scared. I don't even know why I was scared, but I guess I was, to like say something, because I knew that this person like was way more experienced than I was, had been in this a long time, and I didn't even really know who to go and tell, because I'm like, cool, but I'm in business for myself, like who do I say something to? I remember saying something to the office gal who handled like all of our financials because I liked her and I trusted her.
Did they already know he was a creep?
No.
Oh.
So when I went to her and I confided in her and I told her and I was like, I'm so sorry. And she was like, why are you apologizing? I was like, because like, I don't know what to do. And I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm worried. And she was like, you don't need to be worried. Thank you for saying something. Like, that's not okay. And like, I'm really proud of you for speaking up for yourself. And that was the first time I think I'd ever been really validated actually for speaking up for myself in a manner like that. And what ended up happening is they started doing some investigation on this guy, and it had been happening at every single place that he had been coaching. And multiple women then came forward because I came forward, and he ended up getting fired. And then the gal who wrote the program actually called me personally and apologized to me and was like, I'm so sorry, this is not what we stand for, this is not what we're about, like, thank you so much. And so that, I think, to me was like another breakthrough. I was like, wait a minute, like, I do have a voice, and this is why you do stand up for yourself. And this had happened to me before in my life, and I didn't do anything about it because, again, same exact thing, like coming out of previous relationships where I didn't stand up for myself. But this was like that one breaking moment where I'd already left my marriage for many different reasons. I didn't stand up for myself like fully then, and I should have. And then to have that, like, it was just like one more time, like, that I was like, I'm done. This is enough.
Right.
It's like you said, that breaking point for your body to be like, no, you need to say something. And I was super thankful that I did because it caused, obviously, so much light to be shown.
Yeah.
And then for myself, I know it definitely instilled in me going forward years later, like, that is why, like, I love doing stuff like that we're doing right now, like recording these things and creating like the company that we did, is because it's like I want to go and help people to advocate for them and be the voice that sometimes they don't even know that they have. And sometimes it literally takes somebody else, like I said, having her validate me, like, no, good job for standing up. Yeah, you don't need to apologize. Like, you didn't do this to yourself, somebody did this to you. And I think that sometimes we need people in our corner, whether that's male or female, because I know it happens to both sides.
Yeah.
But I think that there's so much power in knowing that there are people that are going to support you and back you when you do finally speak up. And
For yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's necessary. And then I remember that relief, like you said, that was one of those moments where that relief feeling was so like, okay, I know I did the right thing.
It was much greater than the stress and
Heck
the anxiety.
Yeah. Yes.
You'll know when you've made the right choice, and you definitely know when you're like, damn it, that was not the right choice to be making. Luckily, I think we've all gotten a little wiser and don't make those silly mistakes quite as often.
Yeah.
I know when I was younger, this is a great example. Okay, so I'm like super pasty. I am not a tan person in any way, shape, or form. And I had these friends that were tanning, and they were like, you should tan. And I think I was 18 or 19.
Oh boy.
No, I might have been 20. I was just out of high school. And I went into the tanning salon with them. And let me tell you, the salespeople in tanning salons can sell you literally anything and everything, at least me. They were like, girl, you need it all. And I got pressured into buying like this tanning package, a spray tan, which I've never even gotten a spray tan. I paid for this. I had never used it. And then after I got pressured into buying it, I felt so ashamed that I bought it. I was too embarrassed to ever go in to use it.
Really?
Yeah, I literally never returned back to that place because in my brain, I was like, this guy probably thinks that he literally was just like, what a great sales day. I sold this pasty bee, like literally. He did. But that to me, that shouldn't be like a big learning lesson. But I remember, like, I did not say what I wanted to say, and I got all walked over in that store. Never again are you going to go into a store and be sold on anything. And never again was I ever sold on anything in a store. But it sounds silly, but that was a big, like, stand up for yourself. Do not let some really, really tan gay man in the salon sell you shit. Oh my God. And
I think it's also probably
his hair. You remember that guy we saw in the gym the other day?
Yes.
That probably was him. That looked very similar.
Totally see that.
That looked very similar. You knew exactly what I was talking about.
He even
Dude,
had
that mustache.
what are they called?
The handlebar mustache?
Yeah, but it was not a handlebar. It was like the twisty, like.
He had a trike handlebar stash going on, like if it was on a tricycle.
A baby's tricycle.
I know, little trikes. That's
Oh.
little trikes are for babies.
I guess.
Dude, it was funny. But anyways, that was
A moment for you
a
to
moment
realize.
in my brain where I was like, what the heck? I just got sold on so much. I did not stand up for myself.
I think of those moments though too, honestly, like when you are someone who's either been sold stupid products you don't need, or somebody who's been violated or taken advantage of in some way, shape, or form, or somebody who's just like now come to this new light in your life where you're like, no, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm not gonna tolerate this anymore. Like I'm not gonna objectify myself to all these things. Like
Enough's enough.
yeah, I think that also comes back to then when you finally do get to that point where you stand up for yourself, it also will very much so change the way how you interact with other people, knowing that you're not going to ever put someone in that position
Yeah.
to make them feel a certain way. Now, other people may be like, so that's how you swindle and deal. Like, you know what I mean? Some people could take it and run with it the wrong way, but I think that when people do stand up for themselves and they teach themselves a different way, I think it does something to your heart also too, where it's like, I don't ever want to make somebody feel that way, and I don't ever want to put that type of pressure or that uncomfortability on somebody else. And I think that it definitely helps you then become a better person, honestly, because you realize like there's a different way of doing things. You don't like have to disrespect somebody in that way, or like, especially us because we're in sales, like I know I would
and that came
never.
from somebody who, I guess at the time I hadn't really my endeavors in sales hadn't taken off quite yet. But even then, after I went into sales, I never
would pressure somebody into like.
No, because I think there's like a really good thing in saying like if you are honest, that's all you need is honesty.
Right.
It doesn't matter what product you're trying to sell. If you're honest about what it is, like I could tell you that this cup, even though it looked really nice, I love the color. I think the plastic is really cheap. I think the lids that they come with are really shitty lids. Not everyone can see this cup I'm describing. However, even though I think that there's some really negative flaws to it, I would find a lot of the positive flaws so that I wasn't a liar. And that's the fine line of sales.
But I could sell that to you all day long because that cheap cup's only $1 at the local dollar store. By why it leaks.
That is exactly why it leaks. I'm so aware why this cup you gave me is so bad. Honesty. Just being honest.
Honesty and doing to others as you want done to you, honestly.
Stand up for yourself.
Yep.
Have some confidence in yourself. And know that you're making the decision that is best for you. Mm-hmm. And if you are feeling like maybe you don't want to buy that tanning package, you don't have to buy that tanning package. You can say no.
Yes.
And just know when that fine line is enough.
And I truly feel like at any given point in time of your life, now is the best time to stand up for yourself.
You want to know the best part about that?
What?
I never went back in there out of shame, out of whatever it may be, knowing I didn't want to do that. Had I followed through with that tanning package, the color I would have been...
Can we see if they'll let you redeem it now?
Would have been horrendous.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
No, I bought like a 1-year package.
Oh.
Like, I could have been in that baby for like... I don't remember.
A year?
It was a lot, Stephanie. A lot of stuff.
Okay, I thought it was just one-time tanning.
No. I would have...
You got swindled.
Yes, I know. Why do you think I'm so ashamed?
Well, I just thought it was because you bought
I would have been orange. There's a reason I never went back in there. Not only out of the shame, but out of like knowing, okay, like stand up for yourself now. At least if you paid the money and did it, at least stand up for yourself now and don't go through with the fact that I was going to be orange.
I would have gone back and been like, I made a very poor life choice. Can I please get a refund?
At this age, I would totally do that.
Yeah.
Would 20-year-old Stephanie go do that though?
I was pretty brazen for myself. Yes. Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't lose my spirit until I got married, and then that was broken right out of me. Unfortunately.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
positive note to lead off.
Don't worry, it came back later.
She stood up for herself, gained
Yeah.
some confidence, and here she is.
Mm-hmm. I always had a lot of
bucking,
confidence.
ready to go.
Yeah, I did always have a lot of confidence as a child, and then like I said, once I like didn't have my parents constantly feeding me and reassuring me of that, truly, I think like that was the difference of what happened between my adolescent years to then my like early adulthood.
Yeah.
And being with somebody who was determined to break my spirit. Well, he did, and he did a damn good job of it. And then I came back with a vengeance, like, get out of here. I got this now. Now I love to go and advocate for other people, because leaving him and leaving that situation was like the stepping point of like going back and learning how to stand up for myself again and be like, but you're wrong. Like, you're wrong. You are so wrong about me. And then I had to prove to myself. So
That's good though.
yeah, that's why I say like, I think that at any point in time in your life, like it's never too late to learn to stand up for yourself, or how to stand up for yourself again, or stand up for yourself.
Absolutely not.
And like an even more
So you think I should go back in and see if they'll give me my money back?
I mean, at this point, like
It's been like
they're probably out of
12
business.
years.
Probably out of business at this point.
I think it was the Island Tan place, whatever the island. Anyways, have a good
They're
week.
all an island. That's where all the
that
tan.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Have a lovely week.
Yes. Thanks for tuning into this week's of the Cold Brewed Truth.
And if there's something that you're feeling strong about, stand up for yourself. Speak up.
Or something that you're unsettled or unsure about, or you have this anxiety that you feel like this is not like aligning with what it is that I want or what I feel for myself. Like,
Fix it.
remind yourself of your worth. Remind yourself that like, no, you deserve to have good things, and you deserve to have good people in your corner. And if you ever need an additional little pep talk, I mean, find us.
We like talking.
Yeah, find us on social media.
Speaking of talking, this week, wow, we were chatty. Look at that.
I know, we also had a long intro though too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But until next week's version of Cold Brewed Truth.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Oh, just for funsies, because Stephanie's dad likes to give us little fun clips at the end, so we have fun pictures.
Oh yeah.
Here's this week's picture for YouTube, if anybody needs to see what it'll look like for a clip.
Yep.
All right.
Bye guys.
See
Next
ya.
week. That's so funny.